Okay. Sit. I'm having her sit in front of the crate. No treat is needed for the sit here. The reward is going to happen inside when she goes in and turns around to face you. So she's waiting. Notice I'm not restraining her. Opening that door. Going to pat her chest and say, go. Hesitantly goes in there. Good girl. Turns around. She gets a reward. She hesitated because I've never put her in the crate out here in the yard. I've always done it in my house. We're just doing the video here because we have so much more room here, and I wanted a big open space to do it because we have a few other extra things in there, so it's kind of cramped. But see how good stuff happens when she goes in there. Of course, she already loves her crate. That's where I unhook her little prong collar. And by the way, I'm using this very small prong collar. It's actually the smallest one that is made, and or the smallest one you can find in the stores. But it's for a smaller dog normally. But I always use these because, as you can see throughout the videos, it's not about correcting. It's not about jerking and popping. It's just about a signal. And because this closes with the same pressure all the way around the back of the neck and the front, it's just an easier way to do a little prompt, and she really, it's a very clear signal, and she responds so much better than just a regular collar where it's going to be right there, all the pressure's right there on her neck. So it's as you can see, she's a very sensitive dog, and so if this is painful, she wouldn't be able to handle it. But it's all about how the person that's holding the leash uses this that matters. And so throughout the videos, you can see how I'm using it, and that's the way to do it. That's why on a huge dog, even when she's 150 pounds or 120 pounds, this is going to be fine. This is all you need. Those giant, the giant prong collars are a joke. The prongs are big and wide, and I think that these work so well is because one of the reasons they work so well is that the little prongs are so close together, they're more sensitive to it because it's a smaller area that they're in. So this is what I always use no matter what size dog it is. And then you can take that off and just put it here. And it really, really over time helps you, especially since you haven't probably trained a lot of dogs in your life, really helps you keep that pulling in check. If you use it the way that I'm showing you on the videos, and there's a specific leash walking section there to watch, but throughout it as well, I'm walking her around so you can see. It'll help you a lot, and things will stay the way they are now, even when she's huge later on. So she's been sleeping overnight in the crate here, and her daily routine has been going in and out of the crate constantly throughout the day, but it's always that same routine: sit, go, turn around, treat, take everything off, close the door, and then when we go to get her out, I always hook this little prong collar up first and make sure that it's not twisted. And you hook it up, by the way, to the funny looking buckle. There's a perfectly round spacer here, which you don't touch. It's just a spacer. And then you reach in. I always wanted her to love to see my hands coming at her in there. So the first thing I do is I give her a treat as I hook her up. She loves this natural balance stuff that I use. And she's hooked up. See how easy it is? If you just do it for a day or two, you'll be able to just put it on just by feel. And you've already got the leash hooked up to it, so you don't have to reach in there again with the leash. And then you just pat your leg and say, okay, she's gonna come out. And then I always do a little left circle here, close this, because this is always closed, because the power of the crate is that you control the boundary. She has to wait for permission to go in. She has to wait for permission to come out. It's really a big part of the training, because if she's gonna go in and out of there 5 times a day, that's 10 times she has to wait at the boundary. This is a very important boundary. It's the boundary to her den, and she does see it as her den. She gets fed in there, she gets her treats in there, she gets bones and chewies, whatever she wants to chew on. It all happens in there. So we develop it as a really cool place for her to be, and then we control her access in and out. So it really helps with all the other training as well in general. So that's why I suggest you do it that way. And then when she's out, then you can just take her wherever you want to take her. Okay.